I took my profile and I approached him and I told him, you know what, I don't know why I decided to come here today, and I don't understand what's the purpose, or rather why God wanted me to be here, but this is what I've been doing, this is my company profile. And I explained to him everything I've gone through. I expected him to have mercy or feel pity on me, but he looked at me and he said, all this in your profile are giants, you need to pick one thing. Get me one thing that you can do, and you can do it well without any employees or anything. That is what you're gonna do. So I told him, okay, I'm gonna think about that. So I went home, thought about it, and I told him, you know what, I can do cleaning and pest control. And he asked me, are you sure you can do pest control? I told him, yes, I can do pest control. He said, now that is where we are starting to rebrand you. You're no longer going to just move, or rather run around like a headless chicken. We're going to brand you as a cleaning and pest control lady. In fact, it was purely pest control. So I started rebranding the company into a pest control company, started posting it on Twitter, posting it on WhatsApp group where my friends were all over. Still, there was no business, but at least now we were doing something. We were now rebranding who I am. Come 20...
You're in a conversation now.
Yeah. 2019 December, a friend of mine, a former classmate, primary schoolmate, calls me and he says, I've seen someone post on how is it called, X, now former Twitter. He's looking for a pest control person. He has really suffered with that and he needs someone. So I said, okay, give him my number. So I went on Twitter, posted our number, and I just sat there and I was praying to God, let him not call, because now I didn't have a pump, I didn't have the garments, it was zero. So I sat there and I told myself, what can we do? So I called my mentor, because the guy called, and then I told him I'm getting back to him. So I called my mentor and he said, ask the guy to pay a deposit. So I called the guy. He asked me, how much will you guys charge for 3-bedroom? And I told him, I overcharged him. I said 10,000. And he said, okay, I'll pay. I told him, just pay a deposit of 70%. The 30% you'll pay after the job is done. Then he said, okay, fine. So when he sent it, I posted on Facebook, I'm looking for someone who has an experience in fumigation. I'll pay him 1,000.
Wow.
It's just a 3-bedroom.
Yeah.
And someone reached out and he said, we are sending someone, I'm sending a friend. He was a colleague, he has the background, he will do it. So he sends this person, we agree we're going to fumigate on Sunday. You know what I did? We met in town, went to downtown, bought a pump, overall, face gum, everything plus gumboots, everything full. With that deposit the guy paid. We bought even the chemicals. And me being me as Maryben, we get to this guy's house and we notice he has a 8-month-old baby. And I told God, we've never had an experience with a baby. This is our first job. And I just did it innocently. I took anointing oil, poured it in the chemical, and I told God, this is now me and you. If this baby dies, it is me and you. I've read about all this. This guy is qualified. We're in the process of getting our pest control permit and everything. So if anything happens to this baby, it's me and you. And we fumigated that guy's house. And the guy stayed for almost 2 years until he called us for another job. And I was like, oh God, you should have told me not to put anointing on, because 2 years, that is a lost business, Yeah. And after I did that, 2 years, the guy never called. So fast forward 2020, I knew very well that I'm moving back home, because now it's COVID. Guys are not going to call us for business. And that 2020, I remember getting a job of 25 million. Now you see, exactly, expecting that expression.
Wait.
Now this is where people
we've gone from no job.
10 G's.
Relax.
10 G's.
You think I did the job? So,
skizeni story yani.
And they told me they want me to do supplies. And it was a contract of 25 million. I jumped and I thanked God. By that time I was still going to CITAM. I thanked God. I went to CITAM. I prayed and I told God, you've opened the door. I called my mentor, told him, he said, don't take the job. And I was like,
hold on. Rewind selector.
Yeah.
Pull up. Now why?
He said, don't take the job. He said, have you prayed? Yes. What is your heart telling you? I do the job. He said, don't do the job. At first, I didn't listen. And I went around looking for financiers. I got someone who was willing to finance us. And the moment this guy was willing, we even purchased the premise chemical. 1 liter was 20,000 and we were selling it at 25,000. So we bought the sample, took it to that company in Lavington. They approved it and they said, yes, go ahead. Immediately, we did everything possible to get a financial, we did. But the moment we were about to supply, the financial pulled out. And I cried to God and I was cursing and I was like, God, why? This is supposed to move me from this point to this point. And I remember going back to church. So I went to town to meet a friend. And this friend of mine said, you know what? This is a good contract. I've seen what you've gone through. But can you do due diligence in this company?
It's only
and
right.
I said, okay, let me start doing the due diligence. So I called a friend from KRA to check, because in their system, these guys have written they have a turnover of 100 billion. So when they checked into the system, these guys are still under the SME with 0 turnover. The company in the website, it looks like it was formed in 2008. But in the system, the company was formed in 2013. They have 0 returns, nothing. And they kept on calling and pushing and pushing. And I sat back and I said, God, the other time I lost money. So right now I was going to lose over 10 million that I don't have. And this is someone else's money. And that was the time I learned one thing. When you ask God to send someone to walk with you that journey, and he sends a genuine person, you have to listen.
Yeah.
You literally have to listen. If I hadn't listened to my mentor, and I hadn't listened to this other guy to go do due diligence, I would have lost it. And I think I would have gone back to square one, where I was, because right now I was healed. I was getting myself back together, and I told God, okay, just do your thing. In 2020, when people were complaining, people were crying, COVID is there, COVID has hit, that is when I got my breakthrough. Guys were calling us for cleaning and pest control day and night. We were working 24 hours. On top of that, I got a job as a marketing coordinator part-time. And I told these guys, Rosafi, because I won't be working with you guys full-time, it's a new product, I will introduce it in the market. I will ensure every week you make a sales of 200,000 every week, and I live up to my word, because you knew. COVID started back then in March. You're starting your company in June. So already people know the sanitizers, the hand wash. You're a new company. So you're going to pay me 70,000. No deduction, no nothing. They said yes. On this other side, we were making sales. And I sat down and I looked at everything and was like, from 2015 to come and making it in 2020. And I was asking God, why now? Why at this point?
Let me ask you something, Mary. Why do you think you were getting unusual favor in kindness? What do you think is the reason as to why?
I would say this, and I was actually telling her, you see, there's something about the prayer we pray. People have never understood, whether you pray, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Hindu, whoever you are, the prayers you pray plays a big role in your life. When you tell God, I want to be a testimony, you literally have to go through that test.
Right.
When you tell God, I want to impact people's lives, and it's genuine, trust you me, you will go through the fire. There's nothing that comes. Tell people God is wicked, because he's not, the way we always say God is like our father, our earthly father. When I tell my dad right now I want a TX, he will buy it for me if he's able to. But when you tell God you want a TX, he is going to help you build that capacity to afford a TX and to be able to sustain the TX. And not because he wants to take all the glory, because definitely the glory belongs to him, but he's building you the capacity so that his blessings becomes a blessings and adds no sorrow. It gives you that capacity to build it, and people have never experienced that. They've never understood it.
So you're saying basically, if I'm looking forward, if I want a miracle in my life, then I need to expect to be put in a situation where a miracle will happen. Basically, I have to go through the valley of the shadow of death, like they say. You have to go through the desert.
Yes.
The tests.
Completely.
That's
There's
what
no shortcut.
The storm. There's no shortcut.
There's no shortcut. And that's why you see, when you look at people who've genuinely built their wealth, genuinely, through their hard-earned money, through their sweat, they will never waste the money because they understand the process. But when you look at someone who makes quick money, cash in, cash out, they will waste it the way they want to because they don't understand that process.
So if we can relate this to business, maybe the people who are in the startup ecosystem, guys who have just started a business and he's been praying for a breakthrough, he's lost a job. Kwanza now in Kenya, the way people are losing jobs, right? Stores mingi mazeta watu na chiki zimefungwa ni tada. And then, forget even stores. Companies have been declaring people redundant, for example. And then you're saying, my only way out is biashara. You're thinking big. You have a proof of concept, awesome product. Now, you're telling us that for that miracle to happen, you will be tested.
You will be tested.
Your business will go through the ups and downs.
Properly.
I like that.
And then, one of the things I tell people, we will always preach and say entrepreneurship is the way to go. But I tell people every single time, you need to understand one of the missing ingredients is purpose. When you understand your purpose as a person, you will know where you're supposed to be. Whether you're supposed to be whether you're supposed to be an entrepreneur, you're supposed to be a housewife, you're supposed to be an employee, you need to understand what is your purpose. When you walk and work under your purpose, you find fulfillment, money follows, everything works.
But how do you know how do you align with your purpose?
Just sit down and soul search yourself.
Okay.
Soul search yourself. We are all spiritual beings, whether Muslim, whether Christian, all of us are spiritual beings. Understand, align with your purpose, align with your goals. What do you really want to do? You see, the secret is this. When we go back to the old age, education was never there. People were growing up with their talent. Now you need to understand what is your talent.
Profound.
What is that you have in your hand? What is your talent?
I love that. Yeah.
And then once you understand your talent, you're able to understand this is my purpose. This is my line of calling. For instance, let me use Larry Madowo. Every single time you'll see people joke and say they want the God of Larry Madowo. He's doing well. He's employed. He's now with BBC. He's also doing well. You guys are doing well because you've understood this is your line of purpose. This is your line of calling. And now someone else will go and try business and it will not even work. No matter how much they try, it will not work. And the secret also of business is this. We normally say each and every year almost 30,000 startups are registered, more than 30,000 startups, more than 30,000. The second year, out of the 30,000, only about 50% survive. The second year, about half of it survive. The third year, majority of them go down, and probably 10% survive. Now, as a startup, for you to hit your margin or for you to break even, you have to be in the business for 5 years. The moment you attain the 5th year, yes, you're good to go. And then now that is, the 5th year is always the hardest year to break even. And then now on the 7th year is another breaking even. Once you reach the 7th year, at least now your business is, you've understood your business and you're ready to break the trajectory or rather grow to the 10th year. After the 10th year, you continue progressing. But you see, with the business, there's no guarantee. For instance, look at guys like Tuskys, Nakumat. They were in the business. They were the giants in supermarkets, but they still went down. So it's all about understanding what is your purpose. Most of the guys who are starting business, it's because they see probably Maryben is doing good in pest control. They decide to do a pest control company. Or they feel like Maryben is doing good in running a foundation. What do? They start a foundation. By the end of the day, it doesn't work. They go back to square one. But once you understand, this is what I'm called for. This is how I'm supposed to do it. You grow.
Let me ask you, you said that you started to go for these networking events. How did you find these networking events? For those of us who are listening online and they're like, where did you find them?
For me, I would check them online. Eventbrite, I was actually always on Eventbrite.
Yeah, Eventbrite is dope.
If not Eventbrite, I'm looking just online on Google, searching upcoming events, and I would show up. And you see the difference of showing up. There are two types of showing up, actually. There's just showing up to listen and look at people. That was what I used to do. And there's going there with a purpose. Who are you? Again, I'll take us back to understanding yourself, knowing yourself. Who are you? When you understand the value you're bringing, even when you have zero, but you have your mind, you have your skills, you have your talent. This is what you're bringing on this event. You're getting to network with these people, you're getting to understand, you're getting to see them, you're getting to know, how is this person doing this? How are they growing? And I tell people, again, I'll say this, one of the most important thing, even when you want to transform your life and stop living the same life over and over again, I always say living in the vicious circle, day in, day out. Every year, like now we're in a new year, and a lot of guys are shouting, this is my year. I was in that space. I used to say, this is my year, but you're living the same story over and over again. Over and over again. I realized having a mentor is very important. And having a mentor is long-term, not short-term. People don't understand it. They see you on the television and they say, I want you to be my mentor. Did they even pray? No. For instance, several times I've gotten to I've had very great appointments, very great, that I see this appointment, I'm supposed to meet this and this prominent person, and I jump and I'm getting so excited, and I'll call my mentor, I'm supposed to meet so and so, and he says, no, it's not your time. And I crawl in my seat and I'm like, shit. He said, this is not your time.
Wow.
Someone else would go.
Yeah.
I would walk around, kick everything, and I would get so mad, and I'm like, yeah, I can't go. He said no.
Yeah.
He said no. But the only reason as to why I'm able to understand he says no, it's because I prayed and I asked God, is he the right person? And I got my go ahead. He has been my mentor from 2019 till today. I get a go ahead and I walk with that journey. I only have one mentor and one coach, and that's it. If I need help from someone else, I'll come, reach out, talk to you, ask you for guidance, and that's it. But I only submit. They always say, whoever you submit to, you honor. I only submit to one mentor and one coach. That's it. So most of us, you want to see this person, you pick him as your mentor, you pick her, she's your mentor, you pick this person. And that's why you see a lot of young people are not able to be mentored, because all they think is probably, I'll get jealous of you, or you'll get jealous of me. But when you understand it, it becomes easy.
I want to touch on something. JP, by the way, you want to jump in?
You just finish up.
I want to talk about something very important, because when you're speaking, I'm having visions, and I'm thinking about also where I came from. There was a point in my life, it was crazy, and I realized my mental health was at stake. I went through so much. I actually went through depression. So, for people who are getting into business, young guys these days in the creative space, for example, at work, there's a sense of insecurity. You don't know whether, you have longevity at your workplace. Some people want your downfall. You understand? Yeah. The money is not making sense. The promotions are not coming. You look so sharp right now. It's almost as if you figured out I don't want to say you figured, but you're grounded. Let me just use the word, you're grounded. You have a sense of direction. How did you come to a point in your life where now you have a positive mental attitude, after all the things that you went through? Is it your mentor still? Ama, did you actually go through therapy and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I started with therapy. In fact, I was supposed to do 10 sessions. I did 5. And also walking the journey with my mentor. But one of the things that I got that was the ingredient missing was self-love. When you love yourself so much, so much the way we love other people, the way we love our partners, you'll realize when someone calls your partner a fool, you react. And you stand grounded for your partner. You want to protect them. If you love your partner so much, you don't yell at them. You don't insult them. When you look at them when they're going through something, you try to protect them. I started learning self-love. And I started understanding that, failure is part of life. I can fail in this. It doesn't mean that I've failed. It means I've just learned a new way of not doing this. In as much as it hurts, I have learned a new way of not doing this. I've learned a new way of not loving. I've learned a new way of not doing business. I have learned a way of not trusting people easily when it comes to business. Before, I would tell myself, you're an idiot, you're stupid, you're not good for this. Look at this, you can't do that. Nowadays, when something happens, I'm like, oh, okay. So we've experienced this. Self-love is not selfish. Self-care is you understanding my business has failed. This is just the business. This is not me. Doesn't mean I am a failure.
Right.
It means it's the business that has failed. Getting fired from work, I'm like, okay, I was fired before because I was a Luo. I've been dumped before because I was a Luo around 2013. And I was like, oh, okay. It's just that it meant I was never good enough, or rather I wasn't enough for this person. Probably one of us would have killed the other person in terms of our own career. I would have consumed him, or he would have consumed me. So I was saved by this. I learned I'm the only person that I have. It is me, not any other person. So anything that I would do, it would affect my internal organ. It would affect who I am as Maryben, but not the business. Business come and go. I learned to accept this is life, and each and every failure that I experience, I use it as a learning platform. I don't keep it to myself. So I ended up learning I used to get a lot of rejections when we were applying for tenders. Reject, and I would cry. Nowadays, if I get a reject, I looked at it, I'm like, okay, we try again next time.
You're not attached.
I'm not attached. The only person I'm attached to is me.
Okay.
How do I feel? If I feel like this, what am I losing? What am I taking away from me? How am I handling it? And I normally tell people, for you to even heal of depression, just test a little bit of self-love. Just a little bit. And trust you me, anything that is coming to corrupt your mental space, it looks like a foreigner in your body, and you'll realize there's something wrong. I need to just work on this. If you want to take a day to just sulk, you take a day. But you cannot take more than 12 hours to sulk on something.
Let me ask you, that earlier you said how you're going through so much and then you had to still go back to your partner, regardless of the insults, for example. And then I want to put it into context. Somebody is probably in a similar situation. They're working in a toxic environment, playing sports in a toxic environment, but they're getting paid. You know what I mean? And because of that, they can't just quit. Yet they know the mental state is at stake, the mental health. They have no self-love, but understand, damn, I've got little kids I have to take care of. I have to pay my bills. I can imagine many Gen Zs and millennials are in that situation. They're just like, oh, damn, I can't imagine I'm in this position, all these other things. What would you advise people like that?
Number one, I always say look for an exit strategy. What is your exit plan? I normally tell people never exit that job without another job. Because the moment you exit without another job, you're going to get hurt. The moment you exit without knowing where you're going,
that relationship,
you're going to get hurt. What is your exit strategy? You sit down and realize, okay, this job is giving me frustration. Each and every day, apply for a job. Apply every single day. And I tell people, even for those who want to get into business, you have to ensure that you've saved your 1 year salary that is going to sustain you for the next 1 year. It's going to pay your rent. It's going to buy you food. It's going to take care of everything. Do that. Once you lay down your exit strategy, if you can't do it at that time, number two, build a thick skin. Again, it goes back to self-love. When you fall in love with yourself so much, even when this person around you keeps on insulting you, you'll realize it will enter through your left ear and come out through the right. You will never take any word personal unless this person is violent. And when they start being violent, just if you can walk away, walk away. And at times when it's so intense like violence, you have to walk away. Go home. I always tell people, never be scared to go back home. Go and start again. Your family is the only people who will accept you mostly. Right now it changes, but they will accept you with or without. Your mom, your dad, they will accept you with or without. And when you go back to them, and they're being toxic because they feel like they've given you everything and they're not seeing any progress, block your ears. Start working with yourself. You see, most of the time we expect this other person to change. But if they're not willing to change, what do? You start working on yourself to see how am I going to act or react on what these people are saying. I realized I used to pick a lot of offense. Someone comes and tells you you're stupid, but the person who's telling you you're stupid is not someone who knows you. You see? But they're only speaking of the insecurities. Another person will come and tell you this and this. I remember at that time when I started trying to make things work, there's this girl who was dating one of my neighbors who was told, you think you and Maryben can make it in life. You people cannot make it. There's nowhere you're going. But I realized them saying that it's their own insecurities projected to us. Now, if I pick it and start acting or rather reacting on their words, it means I'm destroying myself. What did I do? I started just telling myself, it's okay. That is your own insecurity. It's not mine.
Maryben. We could go on and on because I'm sure there's many people who are relating with your words. It's 2024 was such a rough year for many Kenyans out there. As we wrap up this conversation, they say there's a sense of apathy in the country. I don't even have to be told. I can see. There's so much negativity on social media, so much hate. Guys are going hard on the government. There's a lot of GBV cases and femicide, depression, suicide cases. Guys are just giving up, man. Guys are giving up. What is your word to a Kenyan listening to you right now? They're lost. They don't have a mentor. You were telling us how it's important to have a mentor. What would you tell them? Just something, any word, food for the soul, anything that they can go to bed with this evening, this Monday evening. At least they can use, to spark a fire in their body, and so even in the morning they'll be like, you know what? Yesterday I was listening to After Hours of Spice, and I feel like, I'm ready for this thing. I can have thick skin. I'm ready to chase my dreams and at least be the best version of myself. What can you tell that lady or that guy out there who's just the hopeless?
I would say there's hope for a tree that has been cut off. Even that tree that has been cut off, the roots were never removed. There's always that small leaf that will start sprouting out of it. And that is how someone needs to look at their own life. You feel like life has brought you down, or rather it has put you down. You feel like the whole world is against you. The only thing that is going to carry you away, or rather carry you forward, is the hope. Hope not in the world, hope in yourself.
Yeah.
You believing this is who I am, and hold on to the dream that you had. And as we are winding up, allow me just to say this. I know most of the time, since the year has begun, we tell people create goals, put up your goals. Let me tell you, if you're putting up a goal without a vision, trust you me, you're doing zero.
Okay.
Now, as you're starting today, write your goals and use the SMART strategy. That is, have a specific goal. This is who I am. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to achieve. Ensure your goal is SMART, and ensure it's achievable, ensure it's measurable, ensure it's time-bound, meaning look at the goal as a company vision. You are the company yourself. And most of the time when you're putting up the company vision, you realize we are doing a 5-year vision. Now, when you do the 5 years vision, or rather that is now your goal, you put the 5 years vision or put the 10-year vision, which is your goal. And then you ask yourself, how am I going to achieve the goal? Most of the time we say put realistic. Yes, I want to be the next billionaire. I'll put it, that is my 10-year goal or my 5-year goal. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the sweetness of it. What is your mission? Your mission, the mission as a company, is what you're doing to achieve the vision. Now, you as a human being, when you look at yourself as the company, you have a vision and you start working on your mission. Mm-hmm. Now, the mission are the tiny, tiny goals you're getting to achieve to get to your vision. Most of the time we tell people, write your 2024, 2025 vision. It will not work. By the end of the year, you didn't achieve it. But when you put your 10-year plan, and you start working towards the 10-year plan, before you know it, by the second year, you've achieved a lot more than you could have achieved when you did a 1-year goal.
Right.
And it just works.
Damn, thank you so much, Maryben, for coming through. Contact information, your email, social media. I know there's somebody who would like to have to share your story as well, maybe get into some sort of partnership with you. Maybe somebody would want you as their mentor. Where can they reach out?
On all my social medias, it's Ambassador Maryben Omolo. And my email is actually it's very long, so I think you'd rather just send me a text on my social media, and I'll be able to respond, even if not today. Even if it's not tomorrow, but definitely I respond. Because the email is very long. They will miss on the Omolo part because it's always double L.
Right.
But you can also check on my website, which is marybenomolo.com or marybenfoundation.com.
I love it.
You'll always be able to reach out. And actually, on the foundation page, they will get our phone number. So when they call or they text, definitely it will reach to me within that same day.
Amazing. So the foundation is also online.
Yes.
Yeah, she's got a foundation, guys. It's called Maryben Foundation. Get online and check what it does and engage with Maryben. We have to change this country one person at a time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we are so focused. Yeah, we're rising above the noise. Kalele mingi, but you know what? The people who are very resourceful to Kenya and they're adding so much value. And you know what? For me, it's a blessing to engage with you. Thank you so much, Maryben.
Thank you.
It's been real. Right now, couple of okay, it's 6 minutes after 9. Kamesonga. When we come back, we are still cruising the internet, but right now I have some Sauti Soul for you. Sober. Tunikazi.
Spice FM. Nyeri.